situation when it comes to housing in this country. It's split, isn't it? If you've got property, then brilliant, good for you. Yes, I know everybody's worked hard, they've made their money and they've earned their property. Don't resent anyone that for a second. When it comes, though, to looking at how do you level things up, how do you get people onto the housing market? Yes, we need more stock, but one of the absolute issues in all of this is the rate at which property has been increasing. So people that bought their property a while ago, most of them have made money, particularly in some of the bigger towns and cities. Capital gains tax is exempt when it's your primary residence, your home. Should it be? Do you think you should be taxed on that gain?
Absolutely not. I think a second home, I think, is fair cop. Certainly not. Because the thing is, you will very often find, OK, there may be people in my sort of age group or older than you, and, you know, we started off with a little flat, and then people maybe want a family. So they're hoping, in any event, if they've got on the housing ladder, that they've got a bit of a profit there. They might have invested money doing up their home, their little home, and then they think, OK, we want to expand our family or whatever, and they will use then that profit where they sell their house or their flat to be able to then live in a bigger premises, and that frees up the small one for the next one on the house.
The property that they're then buying, their next property up, that has increased in value as well. Yeah. So now they're having to spend more of their hard-earned cash to buy that second bigger house because everyone's hiking their prices up and market forces and all the rest of it. If they were taxed, perhaps, the prices might not raise so rapidly.
Yeah, but you can't book the markets at the end of the day. And if you start running around price fixing, I mean, homeowners are taxpayers in any event, and you're paying council tax, you're paying all sorts of taxes on your home. And you know what we do want is to make sure everybody has a home to live in.
So it's an absolute no from Jacqueline.
Absolutely
she was not on the fence. Michael?
Well, so, I mean, I think that model that you have of home ownership might be a little bit outdated, you know, because you're suggesting you get this flat, then you use your earnings from that flat to buy a bigger house. Now, the problem at the moment is no one can get that first flat. It's very, very difficult to get on the property ladder. In London, for example, you're needing £150,000 deposit.
It depends where you live.
Yeah, but in all parts of the country, it's a lot more expensive than it used to be.
I moved to London at 20 and I couldn't afford to live in central London because my salary wouldn't have allowed me to do that, and that was all those years ago.
Well, now I wouldn't be able to afford to buy an outer London, right? So that's very different from when you arrived. Now,
well, you don't know where I lived.
In terms of your proposal, I think it's on the right track. I think it's very sort of smart to be thinking about these kind of things for two reasons. So one is sort of inequality in the society. And we talked about on a previous show, actually, how I think it was the IFS who found that social mobility is at an all-time low. And I think that is because people's...
Oh, I don't agree.
People's wealth is so tied up in houses instead of their income for working. And I do think we need to redistribute between those who own property and those who haven't got on the property ladder. So it's very intelligent on that level. My worry with the capital gains tax is that it would discourage people from moving. So what we actually want is people who are in big houses, potentially they're an old couple and they're living in this huge house that a family could be living in. We kind of want them to sell up and downsize. Now, a capital gains tax would disincentivise them. So I think what we need is a property tax which you pay every year, and that would discourage people under-occupying big houses. Getting rid of stamp
duty would probably help people when it comes to getting bigger properties.
Yeah, well, there is an issue. So economists always sort of tear their hair out over this, whereby from an economics perspective, you don't want to tax transactions because you're in favour of transactions. What you actually want to tax is people sitting on property. But politically, it's very difficult to get people to pay a property tax every year because they see it as you know, this is my house, why should I pay a tax on it? So it's a really difficult political problem. But ultimately, I think what we need to move towards is, some kind of property tax which is paid every year, or at least you can just...
I can hear you.
Or you can just reform the council tax bans as well.
We don't want to give politicians any room
don't give many ideas.
Take any more tax off you. But you raise a good point. People living in properties. Now, where we know we do have a problem is people do buy up properties and they don't live in them. Do you see my point?
Yeah, well, the property tax would help with that, actually.
Well, no, but we don't
make it more expensive to sit on a house. I'm just saying that
there are a proportion where you could sort of look at something like that, which are left empty.
Right, well, there you go. We're going to carry that one over as well to another day. If I had £1 for every one of you that's written in, say, Michelle, no, we don't want more tax, we want less. Get rid of capital gains, get rid of inheritance tax. That's what you lot are saying to me. Roger that.